training. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you're watching this. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Wanjiku Cleopatra. I am a young woman living with HIV and a very passionate girl with regards to breaking stigma surrounding HIV. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, please consider to subscribe, and if you're my returning subscriber, karibu sana. And jamani, I've taken some time doing a video, guys. During Christmas I had a minor accident, and I accidentally slipped and fell, and all along I thought it's just a normal thing. Nilikuwa nadhani tu ni vile tu mtu teguka and all that. So nimekuwa tu nikisugua mguu, nasugua, nafanya nini, ole wangu, kumbe I had a fracture. I didn't know. So it has been 20 full days of pain. Nasugua, nasema it's tissue injury and all that, and that's why we are told we should not assume things. So last week on Tuesday I decided that I passed by, I had a meeting in the office, nikasema acha nipitie. I called my friend who is a physiotherapist, akaniambia wewe kuja lakini ndio upigwe picha. So nilifika tu hosi hivi, daktari kuniona, orthopedic kuniona hivi, anambia iko na fracture. Nikamwambia haiwezi kuwa na fracture na nimekuwa nikitembea, like how is that even possible? So akasema if you don't believe, let's go and do an x-ray. Tukaenda tukafanya x-ray, and then nikapatikana nilikuwa na fracture, and so now I have a plaster cast that is supposed to take 6 weeks. At least 6 weeks, inaweza enda mpaka 8 weeks because of the injury. And so niko under house arrest. You guys can come and see me. Bring bones, bring soup, because 6 weeks. And of course you'll be seeing me often kwa sababu sasa nitakuwa nafanya nini apart from nifanye the paperwork. I can go to the shop, I can go to the office. I'm immobile, and thank you so much for everyone who came through and got me a pair of clutches. Nilikuwa natafuta, nasema if you know someone who can give, if you know, and fortunately I got someone who voluntarily gave them and said that if I'm done with them I can of course pass it to someone else. So thank you so much Maggie, and thank you so much Effie, and to everyone else who has been very supportive in this. It's very hard adjusting, and I realize that's why there's a lot of acceptance here. When something changes in your life, it's not easy for you to easily adjust. So let's not blame people. Tunaonanga ni kama mtu ana take time, ni kama mtu hakubali venye kuko. It's not easy. It's not easy having in mind mtu kama mimi niko pilika, niko huku, and you're supposed to be in the house for a month plus. Yeah, so let's go down into this video, and today I want us to discuss about who is to you. Yeah, I know you I have a request about the ongoing stock out of condoms, stock out your ARVs, stock out your hospital commodities, and BCG vaccines. I will do that in my next video, because I did one on TikTok na nikaona ina raise to vitu tu. So let me do that next. So let's discuss who is to you, and that is my most used asked question. People assume, people do not believe in to you is to you. I was equally one of those people, but you is to you means that if you are undetectable, you are untransmittable. So what do you mean by undetectable? When you go to the hospital, there's that test. I've done videos nikitolewa damu. There's that test that you're done, and it's called a viral load test. Viral load refers to the amount of HIV in your blood. The moment unaangalia your damu, inaangaliangwa so that it can check whether your drugs are working, whether you're taking your drugs, and whether you have suppression of the virus. I always say that we take ARVs to suppress the virus. Suppression means to avoid multiplication, to prevent the multiplication of the virus that brings about, zikikuwa mingi ndizo zinakuletea the opportunistic diseases. Zikikuwa less, we are healthy and you can continue with your life and live a long life. Okay, so once you are undetectable, that means that your viral load is not detectable. It cannot be seen. You've suppressed to the point that haiwezi detectiwa under the normal test. If you're undetectable, you cannot transmit, and that is why we say you is to you. And this is the best thing that ever happened in science, and I always put it that science continues to advance every other day. Let us not be stuck huko nyuma kwenye vitu tulikuwa tunaambiwa sijui nini. No, science is continuing to advance every other day, and that is the reason we have used to you. So what do I mean by you is to you? Najua tu kwa hapa najiuliza ni sawa ako aje, inaweza happen aje. So guys, if you're undetectable, you cannot transmit. the virus to your sexual partner, even though you have unprotected sex. So I will give a very good example. And I was in first line. I always say I was in first line, and when I was switched to second line, the reason I was switched to second line is because my first line failed. And my first line failed because I was not adhering. I was not taking medication well. And that means if you do not adhere, you cannot achieve this to you. That is one. Whether you're in first line, you're in second line, you're in third line, if you're not adhering, kama umezi dawa, adherence means unameza dawa vizuri. Si vizuri tu, una keep time. Kama ulisema ni saa moja ni saa moja. Kama ulisema ni saa 10 ni saa 10. Kama ulisema ni 6 asubuhi ni 6 asubuhi. You're keeping your time, you're taking your drugs, you're keeping your hospital appointment. All those combine the adherence issue. So if you're doing all that and your drugs are still not working, you're not still suppressing the virus, that means there's another problem. Kuna shida ingine. And that is why you go checked, and that is why we get the viral load test all the time. If you're suppressed, you get the test at least once per year. If you're not suppressed, you can get it at least 3 months. After every 3 months, wanakuangalia. Because we understand that the whole thing, the whole reason we are taking these drugs, it's because we want to achieve suppression. So if someone is undetected, I was giving an example. So I think in 2016, that is when I was switched to second line. And within 3 months, nilikuwa nisha suppress, yes. So that's how second line is strong. But again, I said that second line comes with so many disadvantages. Nilisema at least one, I'm in second line and I'm taking Tanazavir, and one of the things is that it gives cosmetic jaundice. Most of the people I see in my videos, people saying, oh, your eyes, it gives cosmetic jaundice, and you realize that some of the time, if I don't take a lot of water, my eyes are always, they have a kanini of yellow, because it gives cosmetic jaundice. It's very strong, and the body might feel all that toxicity. If at all you do not take enough water, inakuja sasa inajionyesha hivyo. But it's not seen, it's just a side effect for the drug, which is not, of course, good, because you see that is inner things. It has to do with the liver. So guys, undetectable equals to untransmittable. If you're undetectable, if you suppress, you cannot infect your partner. Why are we having this discussion? We're having this discussion because most people do not believe that choose to is there. I'll meet someone and tell them, you know, of course someone is afraid, of course someone is, and I tell them, even though you have sex with me, I cannot transmit, and they will, most people understand, but it takes so much time, it takes so much for a person to agree that, hey, and you know, from what we learned in school, we know that HIV is sexually transmitted. If you have sex with someone, you immediately get the virus. And then I'm there telling you that no, it's easy to infect. So it's not easy. But I want people to understand that once you suppress, the reason you're not transmitting it is because the virus is not detectable. Haiko detectable, haiwezi onekana. It's there. Undetectable doesn't mean that you're healed. We've gotten people who get undetectable, who get a test. And I'll give an example. When I went back to school, I had previously dropped out of school. When I went back, I felt, when I went back, I had that card, I had already messed up my school, my medication, nikasema I want to do something. So when I went to that school, I was in Mount Kenya University, I don't mind saying. I went to the HTC provider, HIV testing and counseling, nikamwambia, mimi nataka tuanze kitu huku that will sensitize young people about HIV. Akaniuliza mbona unataka kufanya hivyo? Nikamwambia of course I was taking community health and HIV management. Nikamwambia I'm taking that but I'm also living positive. She didn't believe me. Yes, she did not. She said hapana yezi ko aje haukai nini. Nikamwambia you can do a test. So he did a test and my test was negative. And that is what exactly happens today. If you are undetectable, most of the time, many times than often, you'll test and your test will come out negative. It doesn't mean that you are healed. It means that your virus is not detectable. I will repeat. If you are undetectable, not everybody, you will go get tested and your result will read negative that you're HIV. It doesn't mean that you're healed. Sawa? It doesn't mean you're healed. It means that you've suppressed to the point that the virus is not detectable under normal tests. Ukienda ufanye PCR ama anything else, it will be detectable. That means virus iko sasa huko kwa bone marrow, haiko detectable hapa. And that is what many religious people put us through. Unaenda unaambiwa unaombewa, umekuwa ukimeza. No, assuming kama mimi niende sahi ni decide nimejoin kanisa. niende namwambia I'm living positively. They want to say that they wameniponya, and of course niende niseme hivyo. You guys have been seeing, nimekuwa nikimeza dawa vizuri, I'm undetectable, nipimwe nionekane nipate niko negative. And you know, this information is not out there. Information yenye nasema that it's possible, it's not out there. Not so many people that actually believe it's possible. So unaona kuna conflicting statements and issues. So I get tested nione natoka nikisema hakika kabisa nimeponywa, huyo pastor aliniambia guys I'm getting tired, kama nimesimama sana, nimepona, nimefanya nini. Yes, that is what you will assume. Alafu unatoka hapo wanakuambia juu umepona, ukipona unafanya nini? Wewe ukipona unameza dawa, haumezi, unaachana na dawa. Tukiitiwa wewe tunakuwa kwa kitanda, Julia ambao uliponya ukaacha dawa. The moment you stop taking your drugs, the virus rises, of course. Zinaanza kumultiply because the reason you're taking ARVs to suppress, to avoid, to prevent the multiplication. So the moment you're not taking, zinaenda zikimultiply, what happens? They eat up your white blood cells. What happens? You get the opportunistic infections. Ndio umeanza kupata mahoma, ndio umeanza kupata TB, ndio umepata pneumonia, ndio umepata all that skin diseases, ndio umepata meningitis, all that. Eventually you'll just die. Tunaulizananga na alisema aliponya kulienda aje. There's nothing like that, guys. My love, hakuna kitu kama hiyo. If you're undetectable, you're untransmittable, but it doesn't mean that you're healed. Bado kuna virusi, ni venye tu hazionekana. So as I finish up, I'm coming to the end of this. I said I promise that I will not be doing so long videos. So I'm doing a video, I'll be doing at most 15 minutes. So to finish all this, I mean, I wanted to say that You is to You is working and it's there. I am an advocate of You is to You because it has worked for me. And when I say this, I always put it that I have never in my life dated someone who is living positively. I've always dated HIV negative guys. And there's none of them that mwenye nasema alipata ama nini. Nasemanga not unless utake kuniwekelea jameni. But because I was undetectable and I could not transmit. So it's working and it's a game changer. US2 is a game changer, and its benefit is that it helps us to advocate for testing, it helps us to advocate for adherence, it helps us equally to advocate for HIV people living with HIV in their sexual relationship, and it gives us more courage to know that if you are undetectable and you are a young woman living with HIV, you'll take your medication, you'll give birth to an HIV negative kid, and we'll stop HIV infection, new HIV infection among people, and we will equally end AIDS in children. So guys, I want to stop there. Thank you so much for your support. You being here, it means the world to me. I appreciate it, and I hope that this channel will continue growing. Please share with your friends, and thank you so much for being part of this important conversation. Remember, we are doing this because we are breaking HIV stigma, and we are creating a community of understanding, a community of support, and most importantly, a community of empowerment. Thank you so much, and see you in the next one. Bye.